Up next, one of our other founders, Lalia Gislason, will be talking about. Ms. Gislason is a seasoned marketing executive with an extensive knowledge of change in management, design thinking, and brand alignment. She's currently directing marketing and fundraising efforts at the Foundation for the Future. And most recently, she took on an additional role as co-founder. As co-founder, she has hit the ground running, proving herself as a key component to the success of the Foundation for the Future. Gislason previously worked in the marketing roles across Fortune 500 companies, and she is passionate about helping teams bring out the best through cultural development. Hi, Laila, how are you?
I'm great, Leo. You're making me blush. Thank you for that warm introduction. All right, let me see if I can share my screen here. All right, well, thank you, Leo. Good morning. My name is Lalia Gislason. I'm the co-founder and chief of marketing for the Foundation for the Future. Welcome to what Leo and Tim said is our final Blue Marble Week. It's a little bittersweet. I will go into the details of why that is. But as it stands now, the Foundation designed this event, a monthly series to bring together the brightest minds in the space industry and to discuss near-term, near-Earth infrastructure development. Our goal at the Foundation is to accelerate the United States' space infrastructure development through advocacy, education, connection, and most importantly, urgency, but really through any other means possible. If we want progress, like Tim said, in the near term, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the pace needs to be accelerated quite extensively now. Luckily, the Foundation has a proposed solution for this acceleration. It's the Space Corporation Act, which I will provide more detail on later. So today, I invite you to learn more about the Foundation, the things that we're doing, this event itself. We've got big goals for the future of it, and talk about a lot of the initiatives that we've taken on in the last few months. And before I get into that, this month's theme here is making in space from mining to manufacturing. Historically, here on Earth, mining and manufacturing have been early steps in building any flourishing city, economy. And as our reach expands into space, how would that be any different? So I think as this audience especially knows, there is a lot of potential in kind of that cislunar econosphere between here and the moon. And but we're not just looking out into space right now to develop that infrastructure. We're really, as Tim said, from Scranton, looking at ways that we can build out the existing infrastructure that we have to prepare it for this coming wave of a space economy. So yesterday, we heard from a variety of speakers who enlightened us about everything from the difficulties of working with lunar regolith. FYI, I'm not from the space industry. 6 months ago, I had no idea what regolith was. So I'm learning. And we also talked about reproduction in space, also something I had never thought about 6 months ago. We had a great panel with Justin Kugler, Gary Kalnin, Michael Lewis, and Rob Hoyt. We talked a lot about Scranton, where Tim is currently filming from. We explored how the skills and the talent and the resources of places like Scranton, old mining manufacturing towns, can be reutilized to, I guess, step confidently into the next space economy. If you missed us yesterday, you can see this video. I believe it is already on the website. Leo, thumbs up. It's on the website. Yeah, so if you want to go and check that out, it's on our website under F4F Space /Blue Marble Week, and you can watch the full thing. It'll also be on a variety of different channels. So today also promises to be exceptional. We've got some heavy hitters. Andrew Aldrin, who You may recognize his name. He'll be here at 1:30. And he is the director of the Aldrin Space Institute and the ISU Center for Space Entrepreneurship at the Florida Institute of Technology. He'll be talking about the business of space. We'll also be joined by PhDs, Laura Forzik and Roger Lanius. And we do talk quite a bit about policy today, space stations, workforce development, and we'll continue to ponder this question around cities like Scranton and how can they be engaged to build this space economy. So Blue Marble Week, we, along with a variety of our partners, created this event to accelerate the U.S.'s space infrastructure development. We see it as a first step to creating a safe, sustainable gateway to outer space. If we don't expand this econosphere now, it'll be really hard to reach a final frontier of any sort. So again, I'll share a little bit more about our vision, our goals, a little bit about the evolution of the event and our initiatives. Before I do that, I definitely want to give a little bit of an overview of what our goals are and a little bit more about the Congressional Space Act, which is a really important one for us. All right, so this is why we exist as an organization. We want to create sustainable space infrastructure that supports economic growth while securing U.S. interests in space. A lot of the initiatives that we're doing support this goal. We want to pass the Congressional Space Act. If you haven't learned anything about that, again, go to our website. You can read the draft of this Space Act, and we'd love your feedback on it. But a little bit more on that. The goal is really to get the U.S. and the Senate to sign this into law with presidential signature no later than the 60th anniversary of the Communications Satellite Act, ComSat, which it's modeled after. The Space Corporation Act will provide public corporate structure, and it will finance projects like loan guarantees through commercial lending institutions. It'll provide investment funds to provide support for new space companies and grants to small businesses for starting entrepreneurs. And there will be a lot of support for the public benefit as far as space infrastructure projects go. All right, just to break down the initiatives of the Space Act, we're looking at developing 3 offices, which together serve as a linchpin for the planning, financing, and administration of the basic infrastructures. So a Space Development Fund, a Spaceport Authority, and a Center for Space Studies. Oh, one moment. So our third goal is really to create an ecosystem of commerce for companies, innovators, and leaders who are building the future of America. We're here to start a conversation, make connections, and ignite a community around our shared vision, which brings us here to this event, and thank you for joining us. All right, so this Blue Marble Week, I think, is very much doing that. We're starting conversations with a small group of dedicated, like-minded people, and I've found that these types of conversations have the potential to change a lot of things. In fact, I think they're the first step to creating any sort of new movement. And it's hard to believe that it's only the Foundation's 5th event. We only started this in December, so thanks to all of you. I know we've had a lot of loyal people who've tuned into more than one, if not all, of these events. So that is really assuring. Thank you. So initially, we started this an event as a celebration of as the photo of the blue marble, which is this iconic photo that was taken by Apollo 17's crew as they traveled toward the moon in 1972. It was the last lunar mission, and no human has been far enough from Earth to photograph a whole Earth image since. Our goal is still certainly to change that, and we love blue marble as a symbol, and we'll continue to use it, but our goal is to achieve something bigger than just another foot on the moon. It's to create an ecosystem here on the ground, and if there's anything we've learned in these last few months since we've kicked off this event, the magic is in the conversations. Not only here at the event, but after the event. And an ecosystem to support space infrastructure here on the ground isn't necessarily specific to space. We need to include everyone who's excited by the potential that space holds from various industries. All right. When I say various industries, I think this is interesting. We recently co-authored an article from Foundry magazine, which, again, not space, but we're excited to invite tangential industries into the discussion. So manufacturing, plumbing, automotive, things you don't typically think of, as this will certainly be a group effort. As far as Blue Marble Week goes, we are definitely keeping it around. We want this to be a celebration on the actual anniversary, December 7th. Once a year, we're envisioning it as an even bigger celebration. Could be, a global party with, a lot of networking and I don't know. We'll get creative with it, but stand by. And with this new event, we have a new format. We'll start with dynamic and engaging speakers, 30 minutes, with plenty of time for questions and answers. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat. If you're in the call with us, or if you're joining via live stream, you can ask questions or ask it via Twitter. Again, we want this to be as conversational as possible. Towards the end of the day, and this is what I'm excited about, we'll do a final wrap up to jump in, and then we'll jump into these conversations. And they are breakout groups that will provide opportunities for networking and brainstorming. We have a lot of experts here, so we definitely want to tap into that. Yesterday's conversation starter was the question, how can a city like Scranton, Pennsylvania, prepare a space-ready workforce, which prompted a lot of conversation around early education and workforce development, retooling existing infrastructure and skills to adapt to space. And we even talked about the arts, how visual depictions of space drive cultural change. That was very fascinating. And today's conversation question will be, how can a space-ready workforce in Scranton impact the local economy? So think about that as we move through our day. So also one thing to note, as we strive to pass the Space Corporation Act, the conversations we have here are very important because they serve the higher purpose of giving us intellectual fuel to make the case for a public-private partnership for space infrastructure development. If you're watching on the live stream, I encourage you to register now and join us. You can go to our website to do that, because this breakout networking opportunity will only be accessible to those in the room. Not too late to register, so join us. And afterwards today, we'll have a little bit of a happy hour. So if you'd like, grab a beer or a glass of wine. Maybe a little early, but we'll get started on that once we end our breakout sessions. All right. So I'm juggling a couple of different screens here just to move photos, yeah, there we go. All right. So why is Tim filming from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and not Alabama, Florida, or California? Tim touched on that, but I would like to invite him a little bit into the conversation again. And I'd also like to introduce one of the newest members of our growing team, Ashley Williams. She's our outreach director. She will be working with state and local entities to both spread the message of the Space Corporation Act and to further develop our Kindergarten to Orbit workforce development program. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Tim.
Hi.
How are you?
Good now. A little nervous.
No worries. Don't be. So why Scranton, Tim?
So there's a couple reasons. The first I touched on yesterday and today, where Scranton has this history and the sort of founding myth about it, and I use that not as pejorative, but as kind of like Apple has its founding myth of Steve Jobs in a turtleneck solving all the problems. It was a useful story. Scranton has that sort of story of being a town, an industrial town. From the beginning, it was built around building things and making things. And the schools I have visited and the people I've talked to all have that as part of their founding ethos and identity. And so that very much is a piece of the space economy that we don't have. We don't pay attention to enough because for too long, the making it for space has been done in a very bespoke and one-off fashion where we're making one rocket at a time per year. Now, as we move into, as the panel was discussing yesterday, 1,000 starships launching, that's a lot of welders and wrench turners to make that sort of stuff. And it doesn't make sense to have every single one of those made like a Bugatti or Rolls Royce with hand carved wood. So we need the industrial know-how and grit and determination of towns like Scranton. So that's one reason. The second is space has been an exclusive club. It's where the cool kids go. It's where the best pilots and doctors and education specialists go spend their entire lives training for, and then if they are then lucky, get to go to space. More people seem like they run for president than ever get to see space. And that can't be a sustainable model for a space economy that includes all parts of America. And so Scranton is the opposite of a space town when you think stereotypical space town. And so this is part of our diversifying and outreaching to those areas that are outside the traditional space economy.
Thanks, Tim. Ashley, I'm super excited to have you on the team.
Me too.
Tell us a little bit about what you're working on, and then, yeah, just in real quick, tell us about some of the future events we're doing.
So my goal is to get Foundation for the Future in front of economic development groups, entrepreneurs, educators, and basically like decision makers for opportunity. And I have the fun job of, starting the conversation and sharing that this is indeed a real opportunity. And like, I'm actively looking for partners that we can grow with. So yeah, just starting those conversations. And for the events coming up, so we know that Tim is in Pennsylvania right now, but in the next few months, our next events for Conversations for the Future are going to be in Akron, Ohio, Montgomery, Alabama, Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, West Virginia. So if anyone here has any suggestions on where we should go next to host these events, my line is open. And if you or someone you know may be interested in being the lead in your state for something like our workforce development program, I would be happy to chat more with you about it. I'll even drop my email here in the chat. So yeah.
Thanks, Ashley. Tim, real quick, can you tell us a little bit about the workforce development program? That's one of our big initiatives that we're already kicking off.
Yeah, so this is meant to be a, at its core, a place for the current educational opportunities around space to live and be distributed from. So right now, there is no integrated way for educators in Scranton, in Washington State, in Florida, and in California to have any sense of what the space industry wants in terms of education, would benefit from, or even how to do it. No, there's a sense that any training for space requires PhDs, requires advanced engineering labs, when in fact there are hundreds of programs already in existence, ranging from kindergarten field trips to virtual reality experiences for college students that do a lot of the training and educating of a workforce for space. And so what we're trying to do is mirror the success of the NASA Space Grant Program, which is essentially a 50-state network of universities that coordinate and collaborate on STEM education related to space. And this is done and funded by NASA, separate from their main NASA budget, but a separate line item from NASA, and has seen great success over its 40-plus year history. Now we see Space Force standing up and talk of space ROTC, and that then shows there's a clear gap between those students who are interested in joining the military and going through that workforce pipeline, those who are in the NASA pipeline through the space grant, and the rest of us. I don't like math. I have a calculator for it, and that's about all I can do with it. So I'm not the NASA space grant target, and that would mean I'm left out of any space workforce development. And so we're trying to ensure that there is a place and a mechanism by which the rest of us can get education for and about space. Ultimately, this will be a several-year process to build out. The first step that we're in right now, and that Ashley's been helping with, is building that lead organization network across the 50 states. From there, we can collect and organize all of the offerings that are there, you know, ranging from Challenger Center to Cal Poly. And then we can go to Congress with a clear understanding of what we have, what we need, and make the case for a sustained funding stream to educate the blue collar, the non-STEM professionals that we need in space.
Thank you so much, guys. That is actually a great segue to one of our next initiatives, which is our Space Scholarship Program. We've just partnered with Langston University, which, again, an unlikely space, an unlikely choice for space, really. But
That's the
going
point.
back, what's that?
That's the point.
That's exactly, that is exactly the point. And so, yeah, it may surprise you, but we believe in space access for everyone. And so we're working with a team at Langston to issue a scholarship to perhaps not the most academically qualified person interested in becoming an astronaut or an astrophysicist, but the most passionate one or the most dedicated one, someone who maybe doesn't have the physical prowess or, you know, all of the right skill set to become the next astronaut, but who is going to make a difference in space. So our goal is to build out the space scholarship program with Langston and other universities. We'd like to issue more scholarships all over the country. And if this tickles anyone, we are seeking certainly a F4F scholarship committee, as well as corporate or other donors to help us continue its success. So starting with Langston, but sooner than later, expanding to other universities near you. One other initiative that we're working on, and while we're on the topic of giving head starts, the foundation has partnered with the Center for Space Commerce and Finance to host a business plan competition. The new space business plan competition. If you are interested in competing, please do. Teams will submit an online application that includes a company executive summary, and a group of elite judges will review each submission and select finalists to compete in the live event. It'll be kind of an in-person think tank style event, which will happen right here at May's Conversations for the Future event. The prize for that is $5,000. You can go to the center's website for more info and rules. I will drop that in the chat right now. There you go. Oh, Michael already did. Thanks, Michael. All right. Another really important initiative that we've been working on and that has, I think, been quite successful is our congressional webinars. So in addition to Conversations for the Future, we do a monthly event called Infrastructure Space Edition, but going with the theme, we're already talking about changing the name to Infrastructure for the Future. So these are designed for our congressional audience to help make the case for the Space Corporation Act, but they are certainly open to anyone. Our first event in February was co-hosted with Space Florida, Frank DiBello, the CEO, and our the CEO of Space Florida, and our executive director, Tim Chrisman, and our director of government relations, John Chwat, had a really interesting conversation. They explained why the U.S. needs to treat space like any other domain for strategic investments and talked about both the economic and security benefits of doing so. Our next event in March, which easily quadrupled in viewership, was co-hosted by the Space Force Association and presented by the Space Channel. Bill Wolf, the executive director of SFA, joined Tim and John for a discussion which focused on the importance of the U.S. not just being in space, but leading in space, which with obvious threats like China and Russia, there is urgency to develop infrastructure, which will position ourselves to win. The next event will be Wednesday, April 21st at 8:30 a.m. It will focus on the financial state of play in the space economy and highlight the missing steps. And our speakers for that event will be Dylan Taylor, who is the chairman and CEO of Voyager Space Holdings, and Brant Arsenault, partner at 9.8 Capital. And of course, we'll continue to make the case for the Space Corporation Act. So please register today. If you're interested in seeing previous webinars, those are also on the website. And the good news is, so far, both of our events and our outreach seems to be working. So far, the Space Corporation Act has the support of 11 senators and 32 representatives. So that's big win for us. Still a long way to go, but we're getting really close. So finally, and possibly our most important initiative to unite our community is through our newly formed Foundation for the Future membership. We welcome you all to join us here. And the goal is to unite everyone from students, CEOs, and to create a dynamic ecosystem really here. So whether you're an enthusiast or an investor, an entrepreneur, inside or outside of the space industry, we welcome you all who want to join and contribute to the conversation. There are membership levels ranging from individual memberships, which start at $100 annually, only $30 for students, up to larger levels for Fortune 100 companies. So it's a great way to make your voice heard in the political and policy world of space infrastructure. Some benefits will include, but are certainly not limited to, monthly briefings on policy developments, opportunities to join policy conversations, networking opportunities, opportunities to meet with government officials, and other ways to amplify your voice. And if you go there now, you will see one of the line items is to have your name inscribed on the first toilet on the moon. I'll keep that as a cliffhanger. We'll hear more about that soon, but it is an idea that may involve an upcoming Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign. So we'll probably share more about that next month. So for more information, please visit our website, f4f.space. And with that, thank you all so much for joining us. We're always seeking support in the way of donations and volunteers. If you want to be part of the dynamic group, we welcome everyone. Really no geographic constraints, and I look forward to the day we can do this all in person. Until then, I look forward to breaking out with you later this afternoon and possibly the happy hour, if you will join us. And next month, our event is on May 4th, which is kind of fun, and we'll be talking about space-based solar. So thank you, everyone. All the best, and I pass it back to Leo.
Thank you so much, Laila, with all of that. Yeah, you can find all of this information at www.f4f.space. There's so much happening in our foundation. So it's a lot, but honestly, like if you're here, you're part of the conversation on how to make space more accessible for everybody, not just certain groups. Yesterday, we talked a lot about how we can make that a little bit more better by teaching teachers how to properly educate children on space, careers, technology, linking that to anything. If you work in agriculture, how about space farming? I mean, you can link that to pretty much anything. I think we had Richard on the call yesterday who spoke a little bit more about that. So Laila, I don't know if you want to touch on some of those subjects that we talked about yesterday and how that can actually correlate to making small towns like Scranton a little bit more accessible to space careers for kids growing up.
Yeah, I think so. We had a lot of interesting conversations. Our group talked a lot about early education.
Yeah, we had a lot of great conversations, which that all happened. I mean, and we're going to talk more about that later when we do our breakouts. But for a lot of people who missed that, I mean, what are some of your thoughts on what we talked about yesterday?
Yeah, I think it's great to get everyone's input on this. And I think the conversation itself is a great starting point, because we're pulling all these ideas together, not only for just the fun of brainstorming, but really to use it as fuel for making the case for the Space Corporation Act. And to me, that's the most important part of it.
Very crucial. It's very fundamental. So,
Mhm.
I mean, this is an amazing and very crucial event, because Conversations for the Future, as we've now shifted from Blue Marble Week to Conversations, is more of a roundtable talk, like Inara has said in the past. This is a place where people can talk about anything space. And one of the things that we want to make sure that we put across is something as critical as the Space Corporation Act. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think at this point, this is our #1 initiative. I don't think there's anything more critical for us. And I think that's why we're pushing so hard on all these initiatives. You know, it's not random that we've got Ashley going to Akron, Ohio next month. It's not random that we have a space scholarship for Langston University in Oklahoma. These are all kind of strategic attempts to really get our message in the right place and push the Space Corporation Act forward.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, there's a leaf blower right outside my window. It keeps on going on and off. So like, if you hear that, I'm so sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Let's see. We talked yesterday about making jobs more accessible to local communities instead of cities already established in the space industry. How is Foundation for the Future kind of setting the stage for an opportunity like that?
Well, again, I think that's why we're going to these small towns and having, again, conversations. Tim has had great conversations with the chamber in Scranton, which has led to connections with the universities in Scranton. We've made connections to the mayor's office there, and you know, all of those little touch points, all of the emails that we've been sending, all of the webinars that we've been doing. It's all sort of building this greater web that is just going to make the passing of this bill that much easier.
Ashley, what are some of your goals for like when you go to Akron, Ohio? Like, what are some of the your mission in doing this when you go next month?
Honestly, anyone that is, well, my plan is really just to pitch who we are, what we do, that we're coming. Like, for example, with the case of Akron, I believe we're talking about the development of solar power and how that can be applied in space. So I would pitch to, for example, like the local chambers of commerce, or like specifically like councils for economic development, and say, hey, here's who we are. We're coming. This is what we're discussing. This is what we do. Do you know anyone who might be interested in this? And really, anyone who says yes, we usually have a meeting within a week. And that's how it goes.
Yes, that's actually very true. Solar power is actually a really big part of, I mean, it's going to be the main focal point of next month's talks. So, I mean, that a lot of people are actually really interested to find out more is how can we like take that, which is already there, you know what I mean? Solar power is such a huge thing. So like, how can we apply that to this industry? You know, to make that a bigger thing. So like, is that, have you heard anything from anybody who has actually said how critical that is to make those incentives?
The only one that comes to mind, or just as an example, she's actually here right now. Brianna from the Scranton Chamber of Commerce, like she was just explaining like what we are doing. At first, there's that barrier of, well, there's the barrier of disbelief. So once we get past that, that's when we can really talk about more of what's in the realm of possible. But when we share like our plans, what we're doing, like it's easier to have those conversations. And for them in particular, like they're a mining town, so they can definitely see how that skill set could be applied. And like what Tim even says is that there are many industries that are space adjacent and they don't even know it. So just starting that conversation is the beginning.
Yeah, a lot of industries do run very much parallel with the space industry, and like you said, they really don't know that. But it's all about educating and spreading out that information. That listen, like there's more to what you're doing with the space industry, and that's pretty much the future. You know, so it's all about making sure that we do what we can with grassroots, with people, spread that out there for people to understand that. So I don't think that we have any questions. I don't know if anybody has any questions, feel free to put that in the chat. For Laila, Ashley, Tim, or myself, we're more than happy to answer anything that you might have, any inquiries. And I think coming up next, we're going to have another speaker. But prior to that, we're going to be talking a little bit more about fundraising here for the Foundation for the Future, which is very important. So Laila, do you have anything else that you want to say before we close this out for you?
No, just again, we appreciate all the support, both from just a participation side, an outreach side. You know, one other thing I just wanted to mention was that these conversations have legs far beyond these events, and another motivator for the shift in format and name is we've had so many people reach out to us post-event, offering to help, offering information or introductions, connections, donation dollars. It's been excellent. So thank you everyone. And yeah, we'll keep doing the work that we're doing, because it's been super reassuring to just,
it has been. You know, we've been accelerating at such a huge pace. Like you said, infrastructure space edition started not that long ago. It was in February, and the event that followed right after, which was last month, like you said, it quadrupled, which means that a lot of people are not only interested, but they're very passionate about how we can make sure that we can build that foundation for not just the next generation, but the generation now. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, we grew up, like I talk about this all the time, but I grew up putting like the little glow in the dark sticky stars up in my ceiling, you know, because I was very much interested as a kid. I was like, you know what, like one day I want to be an astronaut and I want to go to the moon. Yes, that did not happen, but the point is that it doesn't matter if you're a kid, it doesn't matter if you're somebody my age or if you're more mature. At the end of the day, if you're here, you're part of the conversation. That means you're part of this movement that's happening. So if you're watching these webinars, if you're watching these events, then you are a part and you are a key piece in the component of how to make space more accessible for everybody, not just certain people, not just in big cities in Florida, which are already well established in the space economy, but in cities like Scranton, Pennsylvania, where Tim is at, or in Akron, Ohio, which is where Ashley's going to be going to next month. It can be for everybody. So if you are here, you are a part of the solution. And so any information that you might have, which I know that a lot of people are passionate about, as you can clearly see, Foundation for the Future's website at www.f4f F4F.space, and you can see all of the initiatives that we're pushing out there on a day-to-day basis, and it's really quickly. So Laila, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to add to what you said there, because I think you said it really beautifully. And policy change starts from the ground up, and I think we're trying to tackle it from both ends, both from just the everyday person in Scranton to congressional representatives. So
It's everybody in the spectrum.
Yep.
So thank you so much, Laila. Laila, you're going to be speaking a little bit later on, and Ashley, I'm sure you're going to be here throughout this event. So thank you so much. I see that Emily just popped up. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Doing great. Emily is actually a part of Foundation for the Future. She's here. She has specialized in business development, creative strategy, and fundraising. Emily has launched her first company at the age of 22 and has since raised and distributed over 20 million of private investment for private clients, for-profit entities, and NGOs. She runs a group of impact-driven companies like the Cultivated Group and is on a mission to ignite and empower individuals and organizations to be the change you wish to see in the world. Emily helps in our fundraising efforts here in our Foundation for the Future. And today she's here to provide a quick announcement on the importance your help is to advance our efforts to continue to build the movement of Blue Marble Week, now Conversations for the Future, and the creation of a public-private space infrastructure partnership for Foundation for the Future. So Emily, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Leo, and thank you for that generous introduction. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you all and be here today. My name is Emily Mishler, as Leo said, and my background is the intersection of corporate philanthropy and creative solutions for revolutionary ideas. I recently become affiliated with the Foundation for the Future, and from the nonprofit perspective, have become a partner in building the development arm of the operation. So what does that mean? That means we're financially positioning the Foundation to be able to continue this important work for years, if not generations to come. For our conversations today, it's abundantly clear that our work is disruptive, necessary, and the time is now. And that means we need your help. I've been both incredibly impressed with the comprehensive vision, expertise, dedication, and momentum of the speakers today, and the vision of the Foundation for the Future, the powering force behind Conversations for the Future. We can all agree that the future the Foundation is building is inspiring and worth investing in. This future, in space and beyond, is being built one relationship, conversation, and connection at a time. In order to continue this momentum in building and contributing to this caliber of event, conversation, and community, we need your help. We need you, our allies, attendees, partners, advocates, and friends, to spread the word about our important work through social media, invite like-minded and like-hearted peers to our events, and to help us connect with philanthropists and organizations who believe what we believe, that our future in space is ours for the building, and the time is now. We're so excited to announce 3 different avenues to become involved if you're interested in financially supporting our work. On the corporate level, we have the opportunity to sponsor Conversations for the Future and the Foundation for the Future at large on a monthly and annual basis to support the important work. On a personal level, if you, your friends, or family are inspired to support us, we welcome your contributions to support building space infrastructure and economy. More information to sponsor and support the Foundation is available at the QR code on the screen or at f4f.space. The Foundation has recently also launched a corporate and individual membership program whose mission is to connect like-minded and passionate individuals who see the near-term potential in space. We are recruiting everyone from students to CEOs to join us in creating a dynamic ecosystem of young enthusiasts, investors, entrepreneurs, and larger industry partners, inside or outside of the space industry. We welcome all who want to join and contribute to this urgent conversation which impacts us all. For more information, it's available on the Foundation's website, f4f.space/membership. So, after this lengthy dialogue, what is our ask? Help us in bringing space home, because the time is now and the world can't wait. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Laila, Tim, or any affiliate of the Foundation for the Future. Our contact information and a link to donate is available at the QR code that was just on the screen or at the website, f4f.space of the Foundation. I'll be happy to stick around and field any questions for those of you on our organization's meeting link. And for those of you on the live stream, please feel free to reach out in the comments. Again, thank you so much for your attention. And now I'll turn it back over to Leo for our regularly scheduled programming.
Thank you so much, Emily. And to everybody watching, your help in the ongoing efforts to make space accessible to all is not only appreciated, but also very important. If you would like to help in any way, please email myself, Tim, or Laila with our first name, followed by @f4f.space. And as always, please visit the Foundation for the Future's website at f4f.space for more information on how you can help sponsor and donate to our ongoing efforts, as well as to Blue Marble Week, soon to be, or already is, Conversations for the Future. Thank you so much, Emily.